Welcome to Chapman Academy. This is a platform for you to grow and advance your research writing skill. I recommend you subscribe to Chapman Academy. You share with friends and lovers. You recommend for everybody to join so that they can also learn more things about research every day. So I've been taking you through the various components under research writing in the chapter 3, which is the materials and then methodologies. So today I'm going to walk you through for you to understand all the things that you need to know under the study site description. So with study site description, this is where you talk about where your study is being taken place. So you explain for your readers and then your audience to understand how your community or your study site is being distributed, where your study site is being located, so that they will be able to appreciate and know and then understand how your community is being distributed and then where your community or your study site is being located. So in study site description, you have to talk about or explain where your community is, and then you talk about the population, the number of people within that enclave. Then you talk about within the population, what is the distribution, what is the percentage of children, what is the percentage of adults, what is the percentage of males and then females. You talk about all these things. And then you go ahead to also talk about the size, because this is very important. You need to talk about the size of your study site. So the one that I'm using, for example, this community size is about 4,169 kilometers square. You need to provide all these things. You need to provide the latitude and then the longitude. Explain within which particular region is your study site found. So within the region, and then you talk about the municipality or the district where your study site is found. Then if it is within a sub-district, you talk about it. You need to give refined evidence so that it will be easy for people to know where exactly your study is being taking place, and overall, which country is your study being conducted. You need to provide all these things for your audience to understand, because you cannot just state and then mention the name of the community without talking about it, giving emphasis, giving custom background of the community. That is what you need to know. And then you need to go about telling the neighboring communities. So within your study site, which other communities can be found there. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about the neighboring communities, all those things. You need to talk about it so that it will give direct description to your study site. Then you also have to talk about some of landmarks, the landmarks that are in your community. So landmarks are things that make it easy for people to identify or recognize your community. So is there any tourist site there? Is there any water body or like any scenery or anything that will help people to know more about your study site? You need to provide all those landmarks. And then the things that they are remarkable of, you need to talk about all those things. Major landmarks. Then you also have to talk about their occupation. Are they agricultural people? Are they into farming? Are they into trading? You need to be specific. Are they civil servants? You need to be specific about it. You need to talk about it so that when people are reading it, then they can compare your result with the distribution of your community. Okay, so we are getting these results because these people are mostly farmers. Most of them are farmers. So if we are talking about the use of agricultural products, and then the people in the community are mostly farmers, then we can link the result to agricultural products so that we can draw a reasonable and justifiable conclusion about the result that we will get. So in study side description, it is very important for you to be direct with the custom background of your community. You need to talk about the infrastructure, the health infrastructures in the community. So depending on what you are working on, then you need to put more emphasis on it. So if you are working with any health related topic, you need to be more focused on health. If it is agric study that you are doing, you need to be more focused on agricultural infrastructures. It doesn't mean that you don't need to talk about other things like health and then education, but you need to talk about it, but your focus should be more of what you are dealing with. So if it is health, you need to talk about the distribution of health in the community, their health infrastructures, the number of hospitals, the number of clinics in the community, the number of CHIPS compound in the community, how they deliver their health care, their health seeking behavior. You need to talk about all those things so that people who pick your paper will be able to get understanding, will be able to know how these people behave in terms of health. You need to talk about the disease pattern of the community over the years. What is the pattern of disease in the community? You need to provide account on those things. Sometimes you have to talk about the seasons, because season is very important in research. Depending on your study, season is very important. Like I did in one of my videos, the cross-sectional study, that I was talking about taking data in a snapshot. And then if you don't consider the season, you will not be able to get your participants. So like in a farming community and then in raining season, you need to make sure that you will get most of them, because by then, or in the harvest season, you won't get them, because by then everybody will be on the field, everybody will be in the farming working, so you won't get anybody. So you need to also talk about the seasonal patterns about the community. This is very important in research writing as far as study side description is concerned. You also have to talk about the schools, their educational status. You need to provide account on educational status of the people. You talk about all these things, the number of schools, the number of students who are able to graduate from the basic school to the junior high through to the SHS to tertiary. You need to provide all these accounts. The number of the people who have formal and then informal education. You need to provide all these things. So when you look at this topic, it is basically on exclusive breastfeeding among teenage mothers. So you need to provide account on how education is being impacted in this study, because teenage mothers, we expect them to be within JHS and then SHS. So how is education being impacted? Are they leading to school dropout? Is it influencing their academic performance? Because you need to provide this. All these things are important as far as study site description is concerned. Then you need to provide a pictorial map representation. You need to provide map if necessary. You need to provide map of the community where it is located within the municipality, within the region, and then within the country where your study site is being located. You need to provide a map that will show vis-a-vis, this is where my study site is located. Study site description, you need to provide account to all these custom background information of your study site. You need to provide all these characteristics because it helps to identify where your community is being cited, and then where and then how your community has been distributed, the things that your community engage in. It provide account for this and then make it easy for people to get fair understanding of how your community is being distributed. Thank you for joining me through to this far. I recommend you subscribe to Sharpman Academy. You recommend with friends and then family so that everybody will join as we all learn and then grow in research writing. Subscribe to Sharpman Academy. Sharpman Academy. See you there.